Hello there everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video I want to do a guide on one of my absolute favorite epics in the game, Thylessia. I actually just got a 2-star soul from her today. It's Sunday, and you know, from all the extra coins you get from running the Iron Twins fortress, I got 3 Mortal Soul Stones and 2-star Thylessia popped out. So I said today is the day. The Knights Revenant faction crypt is open. Everything is coming together. Thylessia is, in my opinion, one of the most unique and one of the best epics in the game. Also, interestingly enough, she does share a good few bits in common with Moranyx, the new fusion legendary that's starting on Tuesday. I'm going to have a guide up on Moranyx as soon as possible as well, guys. So as soon as that embargo lifts from the test server, I'll have a guide on Moranyx up for you. I'm going to be working on that over the next little while. But let's take a look at Thylessia. Let's see what she actually does. So her first move, and this is really nice, is Melancholia. It's a 3-turn cooldown when booked. It's an AoE attack that places decreased defense for 2 turns. So it's a 100% chance to land decreased defense. Now she can obviously weak hit, but decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown is a good, solid move. Then she has a second AoE on a 3-turn cooldown, Shrieking Voices, that then increases the duration of all debuffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Now, this is what makes her quite special, in my opinion. I think this is such a nice thing because, you know, extending, for example, poisons in dungeons. Like, imagine doing the dragon dungeon, extending your poison debuffs to get extra damage against the dragon, extra damage against the waves. Super useful. I will show her with to you with some poisoners for sure today. Some really OP ones. Really useful in Hydra. Right, against those Hydra heads, extending all those debuffs, keeping up that decreased defense, decreased speed, HP burn, all these block buffs especially, all these really useful debuffs that can be tricky to keep up all the time. It makes a huge difference. If you consider champions with, like, let's say Mighty Uko, I'm going to run her with Mighty Uko today, who has a 4-turn cooldown on block buffs. It's tricky to keep that up all the time. Thylessia makes it easier. Then we should go to her passive, actually, which is Feast of Woe. When attacking enemies under decreased defense, has a 50% chance of placing Hex on them for 2 turns. So just by herself, she places decreased defense on her first AoE, then her second AoE hits them again and has that chance to put Hex on everyone. Then she does an A1, then she's back to these abilities. And oftentimes, by the time she gets back to Melancholia, because she's extended the decreased defense, she's again having another chance to proc this. So with good speed and all the rest, she can actually be quite good at keeping Hex up a lot of the time. I think a lot of people, some people definitely still don't know that Hex got buffed recently, and Hex now actually duplicates some of your damage. So when you damage an enemy, it's going to duplicate 10% of the single target damage to every enemy with Hex. It's going to duplicate 2% of all AoE damage to every enemy with Hex. So it's actually a nice little damage booster to every single team. It makes a big difference, especially in something like Hydra, where you've got lots of enemies. You can like duplicate damage from decapitated heads across and get pretty good value. It's quite nifty for that. Of course, on top of the fact that for Hydra, this lets you target the Head of Mischief, which is nice. Her A1 then is a single target attack that has a 70% chance of doing a debuff spread, taking a random debuff from the target and placing it on all enemies under Hex debuffs. So again, it's actually a really nice A1 because much like this A2 ability, extending debuffs, it just helps you keep a better uptime on those debuffs. So you miss your block buffs or your decreased speed on a Hydra head, let's say. Or the Head of Decay, he comes in and he's cleansed off some of the debuffs, like the single target cleanse. She can help, as long as Hex is out there, she can start help putting those debuffs back up again, increasing their duration, what have you. It's actually really, really nifty. So she's got a great skill set overall. Now for her blessing, I do think that Cruelty is probably the way to go. Whenever this champion hits an enemy, decrease their defense until the end of the round. It occurs once per hit. Seeing as she's firing off so many AoE, she's going to stack this up pretty quick. It's going to give her some attack, some HP crit damage, and then obviously everything gives you speed in the end. I think this is going to be your best choice overall, just because she's going to stack it up so fast. 5 of her AoEs, and she stacked it fully up on all of the Hydra heads. She's going to stack it up really, really quickly. So I think that's really good for her. It's going to be great in all the dungeons and faction wars and everything like that. That's what I'm going for. Now, for her build, this is actually where things get really interesting with this champion because there is so much potential, but also so much room for downfall. The room for downfall, unfortunately, is, right, that she's actually got really bad stats in all of the stats that you want to be good. So accuracy, right? She's landing lots of debuffs and doing lots of debuff effects. She needs accuracy. She starts with 0. Her speed is pretty not great. Her defense and her HP are terrible. So this is all really a bummer, right? For Hydra, survivability really comes first. And she's really lacking there, which sucks for Faction Wars sort of similarly. So that is a real bummer. As a debuffer, she does struggle. She'll do good damage, and that's great, but as a debuffer, she struggles. So the way I tend to build her up is to focus mostly on survivability. I actually have her in a relentless set as well. Chance to get extra turns just to cycle through those moves faster and faster. That's really nice. There's lots of options, though. There's actually tons of options. I think other good options, lifesteal, those types of sets are good to keep her alive, right? Because she's firing off AoE attacks. She's going to proc War Master. This can be a really good way to keep her alive. Obviously, stat sets like accuracy and speed, they are good too. Perception, of course. You can also go in different directions as well. You could build her for pure damage with Savage. That's an option, but I don't super recommend it. You could put her in Toxic, you know, if you don't have any other poisoners on your team, and she'll extend those poisons, which is okay. Stalwart is definitely worth considering as well. Less damage from AoE attacks. That's going to help her not get one-shot because she is squishy. So depending on your team. You could even build her in something like Resilience. It's not going to give her that much benefit, unfortunately, because her base stats are low, but you just need to work hard to get them cranked up high. But yeah, so there's quite a few different options. And then, of course, you can certainly consider, where is it, a stun set, right? If you're doing stuff like Doom Tower and Faction Wars and Dungeons with her mostly, this is bad for Hydra, but great for those. Chance to place those stun debuffs, because she's doing so many AoE attacks, it's going to lock down the waves, right? You could also, yeah, anything like that can work as well. So we've got lots of options there, guys. Taunting set might be a nice, happy medium. The taunting set is going to work for waves. It's going to get her killed fairly quickly, though, but it'll be good for Hydra. So it sort of depends how good your revivers are and whatnot. But that is Thylessia. So in terms of the specific gear I have on her, you can see these specific stats right here. So I've got room to glyph her speed up more. You can see I was really struggling. I'm looking for speed. Really, I want speed, speed, speed. And I've gone kind of greedy here. Crit rate. This is very, very disposable. So for example, a much better piece would be HP percent with lots of speed on it. And maybe a bit of accuracy on it. That's more so what you would want. I have her in HP percentage chest. Yes, it doesn't benefit her much because her base HP sucks, but you just want to get it higher. And then speed boots. For her accessories, I have her in a defense ring. I do have her in a crit damage neck. I could switch that up. It's not a huge deal. You could definitely put her in like HP or defense next. Totally fine. Then I have her in an accuracy banner. So that's generally speaking what I think you're going to go for. You know, speed boots, accuracy banner, and then just look for defensive stats on the rest. Looking for speed, accuracy, defensive stats. If you can get the crit rate, great. But you don't need to prioritize that. It's just literally they're the only clubs I had. I think the other ones were like crit damage with no crit rate. They were really bad, you know. For her masteries then, you do have options here. I'm slightly in the way. Let me move me out of the way. Here we go. Fantastic. So she 100% wants War Master. This is the big thing. She's not a PvP champ. She's not an arena champion, right? You're going to be using her against bosses and waves and Doom Tower, stuff like that. War Master is the way to go. This is going to give her a ton of damage because she's firing off so many AoE attacks, which is also going to help her heal up with Leech. It's going to help her heal up with Life Drinker. This is the way to go. So just going down the left-hand side of this tree and then going down the right-hand side of the debuffy tree, increasing her chance to place Hex with her passive, extending those debuffs. I gave her, you know, a chance to cool down her skill just for fun, for even more AoEs, why not? And I'm going to give her Arcane Celerity as well, just chance to increase her turn meter when her debuffs expire, because she is throwing out decreased defense and Hex. She's got a couple of debuffs out there. We just want her going faster, bonus accuracy, and that is Thylessia. So she's, I think, really, really solid. Let's dive in, first of all, to Faction Wars. Let's see her in some gameplay here, and you're going to see her with some Poisoners. Now, I've got, obviously, two of the best Poisoners in the game. We have Calvalax and we've Tomb Lord. Haven't quite booked my Calvalax yet, but we throw her in here. And I have been using Skull Crown in this spot instead of Thylessia recently, but we're going to see her at work. So Calvalax has put out some poisons. Thylessia actually comes in, and the interesting thing, I did a quick test here, is by default, I think it's because Tomb Lord is in there, right? Because Tomb Lord has come in, and he has put decreased defense out. Thylessia has actually gone in and extended. You can see she's coming in. She's doing these smacks. Unfortunately, for this particular... for floor 21, there's a lot of green affinity enemies, so she is the weak affinity, unfortunately, but she's still going to be proccing her effects enough that it's okay. There she goes in. You can see she's doing the cruelty thing, which is awesome, and the spirit affinity guys are doing the work. And you can see the hexes popping up. They're not super consistent, but they do pop up every now and then. We come into wave 2. There we go. We got some poisons. We've refreshed the cooldowns, decreased defense. She goes in, tries to extend. We've got a hex out there on a couple of different enemies. Let's actually target him. See if we can't kill him off. I'm not sure if we can. We shall see. Probably not. Unfortunately, he can get block damage up. If he does, we might. We probably won't pause it, but we'll see what we can do. She's doing a bit of a debuff spread as well. Oh, he did it. He got the invincibility aura up. We're so close to killing him. My Calvalax isn't booked yet. I think when he's booked, he will just one-shot him, and then we'll have no problem. But it's going to take a little while extra to get through this wave now, but we will get through. You see the sort of rough gist of it. I'll pause it. We'll be back when this wave is actually dead. They're going to beat us up, but we're going to be fine. It's just going to take ages with all the counterattacks. I'll be right back. All right, we're coming definitely up to the end of the wave now, but you can just see there's the extra turn popping off. She's going in again. She's actually doing her A1 there. That's interesting why she's doing that. That's actually showing me something I hadn't realized, because like I said, I've been putting in Skull Crown before because Skull Crown was awakened with cruelty. I only awakened Thylessia literally this morning, my first time running it. The fact that she did her A1 twice shows me that she needs some AI setup here, so you could tell her what to prioritize because she's clearly not doing it properly. Yeah, she's just done 2 A1s, her A2, and then another A1. So in the AI presets with this sort of team, it's going to be worthwhile actually setting her up to do specific things to make sure she keeps doing the AoEs. There she goes in. She actually got Hex on everyone, duplicating some of that damage, which is nice. Luckily, we had enough resistance that the dude didn't affect us too much. Here we go. She's gone in. She's increased the duration of the debuffs again. So you can see these debuffs just really stacking up. The poisons are building up and up and up. Now, the boss will obviously throw them back, which is a problem. But we're going to go through. The extra turns popping off. She's stacking up cruelty. And yeah, we should get through this, hopefully, reasonably quickly. The other ad has gone down. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Decreased speed is on. That's good. That's what we want to see. She's increased the debuff duration again. We should hopefully get more poisons out soon. From Tomb Lord, there's another poison. Fantastic. And yeah, you get the gist, right? You get the gist. We're just going to keep beating this boss down. The chunks of poison. Obviously, you know, this is a really nice team. It's certainly not the best team, right? You can definitely have stronger teams than this with the other Void Legendaries that I don't have for this faction. But you get an idea. We'll see what happens now. We might actually end up one-shotting him. Calvalax getting close. We didn't get the extra turn. We get the turn meter deplete there from Tomb Lord. And yeah, one of the harder factions. We get through it reasonably fast. We lost quite a lot of time on wave 2, unfortunately, but we take him down. Not too bad. There you go. And you can actually see... Again, I'm slightly in the way. If I remove this, you can see the damage done. It's obviously hard to quantify Calvalax with his poisons doing the most, but of course Thylessia is upping that damage. And funny, I'm actually surprised, I guess, that with her extending stuff so much and maybe proccing some of that AoE hits and Hex, she's actually outdamaged Tomb Lord, which is pretty nuts. That's actually kind of crazy when you think about it. And she's also upping everyone's damage with cruelty as well. So she's really good for this, really solid. Bad affinity. Put her in stun set. Stun set will proc even if it's bad affinity, so that works just fine. You know, there's lots of options here. You can see the sun is coming in. We don't have blinds on the windows. I'm absolutely getting cooked alive. The PC puts out a lot of heat. The sun puts out a lot of heat. It's hot stuff. I'm getting cooked. Right, let's go. Before I die from heat exposure. So what we're going to do, this is the team. I've showed off this team a little bit last week with Mighty Uko, but I don't think I actually showed any gameplay. So let me show you roughly how this team works. Now, it's not foolproof at the start. I haven't switched Uko into the gear that I wanted to quite yet. It's a bit of a pity that we missed that. So what we have to do, we have to land taunting set here. No, so we've got to restart. So we're going to restart this a couple of times in a row just to land the provoke we have a taunting set on Mother Cybele. She does need to provoke Head of Decay on the first round. Oh, Uko's actually... that's not correct. Hang on. Why is Uko doing that? Let me switch that. I think I switched their... Okay, cool. So that's fine. Here we go. You need to open with that. In fact, let's just set that as priority 1. That'll be fine. They should never clash. The rest should be fine. They should just work by default. We just need to force Mother Cybele to open with A1 with the provoke set, which is what we wanted to see. But Uko had not landed the block buffs, which we need to do. So it takes a while. Let me just pause it for you guys so you don't have to watch me restart this over and over again. You need the block buffs and the provoke at the start so we don't get poison cloud on everything, because then we're going to have a bad time, you know? Okay, we actually got it. We're good to go. She did the wrong move. Oh well, but we've got decreased defense and weaken up, so that's okay. We need to get the HP burn out now. It's not the worst thing if she opens with the A2, honestly, because she gives herself an extra turn, gets better uptime on it. We might get the cleanse up here. Unfortunately, she didn't get the extra turn because she weak hit him. But there you go. You can see the extension. Look at just the duration of these debuffs. Like, HP burn is up for 5 turns. And just extending that block buffs, making sure it's going to last. Unfortunately, we didn't get the provoke right there, so we will get the cleanse, undoing the good work of Thylessia. But here she goes. Extra turn. She should go in now. And bam, decreased defense. We actually have Hex out on 1 head already. Fantastic. I'm just going to be cycling through. You will see she's going to be squishy. With Relentless, she is going to die. You're going to need to make sure to have a reviver in there. That's going to be super important. We've got Mother Cybele who can keep her alive a little bit. We've got Uko who can obviously revive. So all that stuff is going to be really, really, really important. We get the provoke out. That's actually quite good. Let's actually target this head down. Try kill him off if we can. But yeah, that stuff is going to be important to try to keep her alive, right? Thylessia, she's definitely squishy. Leech debuff is also really good. Definitely good to have her out there. And you can be, you know, you don't need to be too fussy with her. She'll combo very, very well with Ugo as well. Actually, in some ways, she might combo better with Ugo because Ugo is going to give you leeches. And yes, they're going to overlap with the decreased defense, but I actually don't think it's that big of a deal. I actually think you can get away with it. He's going to come in there. Feast of Woes. Lovely. Fantastic. All right. And yeah, we're getting beat up a little bit, but you can see sort of the idea of how this team works. We got the heal coming in right now. Cool. The burn comes out. We explode the burn, which decreases the duration. But bam, she's going to come in hopefully and extend it in a second just to keep that uptime on the burn. So in Hydra, when you've got champions like Thylessia, who, yeah, she applies burn, but she doesn't keep it up 100% of the time. When you've got champions like Mother Cybele, who's applying decreased speed, but again, not keeping it up 100% of the time, or Uko, who can do the, you know, the block buffs, decrease accuracy, but not all the time. Shrieking Voices comes in, increases the duration. It's just fantastic. It's super helpful. I would say the only real place, now we've got Hex up. Look at this. This is the other great thing. We've Hex up now, so every single target attack is going directly to this head. And she's reapplied it there with her A1. She's extended up to 3 turns. So absolutely no problem. Fantastic stuff. Boom. Flame Eruption comes in. No bother. Great. And we're off, right? We're doing fantastic. But yeah, as you can see, she works really well. I'll say the one thing that you really, really, really need to watch out for is that because she is so difficult to build, to survive, the thing that is going to wreck her is in a team like this, which is almost exclusively Force Affinity. If they ever do introduce, we've got Inquisitor Shamael is hiding behind my head. He is Void Affinity. But if they ever do introduce, you know, like do Hydra with Force Affinity only, this team is one to try. And you could put in, look at these debuffs. It's just crazy, right? You could put in Rector's Wrath instead, who's going to give you more healing. And the Perfect Veil is going to protect you from the Head of Torment, which is the main thing that Shamael is doing for us right now. So that is what you could do instead, and you get away with it. You can see she's doing pretty decent hits against these heads as well. It's not too bad. And that will give you a full Force Affinity team. But with all these Force Affinities, and with Thylessia in particular, when Head of Wrath, if he comes in, and if he is Spirit Affinity, he can crit her, and he can kill her very quickly, because even when you build her to be tanky, she's only going to be so tanky, so that can be a problem. And as you can see, because she's firing off so many AoEs as well, she does work very well with Inquisitor Shamael, because with this Relentless set build in particular, because she's taking potentially extra turns, she can outrun Perfect Veil, and she can start getting herself True Feared. It's generally not an absolutely huge deal. Here you go, extra turn. She's coming in with another A1. Just pumping out all these extra hits, stacking up that cruelty faster, extending the debuffs more. But yeah, it's just something to watch out for, something to be aware of, you know. But yeah, there you go. So she's really awesome. We've actually done half the damage. I will let this key run out. I think on full auto is actually totally fine. And I'll show you guys how he did in the end, just as like a sample team to give you an idea. But I just love Thylessia in this style of team. I think she is just so good for this. It'd be great if we landed the provoke here. I actually can't see it behind my screen, but there you are. So yeah, I'll be right back in a few minutes, and we'll see what sort of damage we do at the end. Be right back. Actually, I just realized another thing that I should have mentioned but didn't is, of course, who is probably the best budget option damage dealer for Hydra. I don't have him in this run. He's also Force Affinity, by the way. Who is the best budget option, and would he benefit from Thylessia being there? The answer, of course, is Geomancer. And again, of course, the answer is yes. Geomancer absolutely massively benefits from Thylessia. If you think about what he's doing, he puts up his own HP burns, and then those HP burns start reflecting damage back on the enemy. So when Thylessia comes in and starts extending those, it just helps him to stack it up on more and more enemies. In fact, I can throw together for you a second sample team here at the end with some really nice budget options for how it could work. So I'll throw that together for you as well. But absolutely fantastic. And Thylessia brings in the decreased defense. Geomancer with that single target puts out weaken. But again, because she extends it, she helps keep it up. Geomancer puts out decreased accuracy, but not super consistently. Thylessia extends it, helps to keep it up. So that's another, I think, really good option. Am I targeting this head? No. But yeah, so again, just giving you guys some ideas, hopefully some fun ones. So you can see here, actually, I might leave this run a little bit more. We can see Head of Wrath is going to come in and absolutely smack us. Like, because we're all Force Affinity, this is where it can go real bad. So you are, you know, somewhat a good bit. Bam. Okay, it didn't hit that hard this time. But it can. It definitely can. So we definitely need to be scared. He's got increased attack on now. He's going to pop off. And this can be pretty bad news. Pretty damn bad news. We've got decreased attack on, which is keeping us alive. But you can see that hit come in. It's a huge hit. That is very scary. Extra turn coming in here is nice. She gets the decreased defense. I just love her with this. The whole extra turn thing. It's just so good. Okay, we've got Revive on Death up now. We've stripped off his increased attack. We're being smacked around. But again, nice little combo with the increased defense. And then with Ultimate Death Knight, his shield scales off of his defense. So we get a nice shield from him, and that heal is going to help us top back up. And we should be just fine by the end of it. But yeah, we get through. We've actually just about now hit that 1 key damage as well, which is fantastic. I'm actually going to target this head right here. Try take him down. But yeah, let me run this out. There you go. You can see 1 key has been hit. We've demonstrated the severe danger. Again, we do have Hex up on this head, so we can target him directly. We could definitely lose Thylessia. There you go. 17,000 right there. And this is just on hard. We're on hard difficulty Hydra. So that shows you for sure the danger. We might actually get taken down here at this point. Spirit Affinity, Head of Wrath is bad news. Really bad news. But look at that. We actually took him down really quick. So that is definitely some sort of stress-free fun. Let's actually see if we can kill off this head. That would be pretty good. Well, bam! Force Affinity. It's a problem. But yeah, okay. I will, I'll be back when we run the key out. I thought maybe it was going to end right there. It hasn't quite ended yet, but I'm sure we're not far off potentially wiping miserably. So I'll be back in potentially very quickly, and we'll see how we do. Be right back. All right, guys. Well, we are coming to the end of the run. It's a good thing I paused it, huh? I think we just got basically the best luck. Wow, we actually broke someone else free. Unbelievable. We've got like the best luck possible. I was watching it as we were going through, and there was a couple of times where, I'm not kidding, basically the entire team was at literally 1 HP. We were dying, getting Revive on Death from Mother Cybele because Head of Wrath was wrecking us. It was pretty nuts. We're actually coming up. We've done 63 million. They're still going as well. They just don't want to actually die here. Look at that. Ultimate Death Knight just sitting on 1 HP. He's like, I could die or I could just survive. Okay, they've been eating Ultimate DK. He's doing the final stand, the last stand here. We're going to get one more brimstone off. There we go. Lovely. We'll take it. Ultimate D, he'll go down eventually. I'm telling you, Ultimate DK is probably the most, he's up there for one of the most underrated champions. I'm serious. The guy is so damn good. There we go. It took about 30 minutes, full auto there. But you can see the numbers as we go through. 63.58 million. If I turn me off, so you can see Mother Cybele. But we can see the overall performance from the team. I think it's very impressive stuff. We've got Thylessia obviously doing the bulk of the damage, 22 million. And of course, Thylessia is improving that because she's extending those burns, making the burns do more work. And we can see then in second place for damage is actually Thylessia herself doing real good damage. And by the way, part of why I say Ultimate DK is so underrated. Look at that healing. Obviously, lots of his damage is coming from that, the Brimstone, right? But Thylessia doing great work there. Really good. Extending all the debuffs, making everything more consistent, providing us with a consistent decreased defense, providing us with quite a good uptime of Hex, and yet her damage is really solid. She's proccing lots of War Master with her AoEs, but it's fairly comparable to Uko. It's fairly comparable to Mother Cybele, who is 7.6 million. The extra source of her damage then, a big chunk extra, is coming from that Hex and redistributing that damage. It's giving you quite a chunk of extra damage, which is, like I said, it adds up. It does add up. Inquisitor's doing pretty good damage because we don't have that much resistance here. So we're getting lots of poisons. He's doing lots of counterattacks on the poisons and lots of extra attacks on Head of Torment. I'm definitely going to keep that result. I am happy. Damn, 64 million with this team. That's the best run by far with this team. I did a couple of runs with these two teams last week. We actually did the top on hard right there, would you believe it? I did a couple with Mighty Uko last week, and we're getting about 40 million with those. I did a Lydia variant as well, right? Putting Lydia in instead of Thylessia. She is definitely a champion that you should consider. That is extremely good, right? If you've got really good debuffs, but you don't have the best uptime on those debuffs, consider her and putting her in. I do think that the two things that have really shot her up into being a top consideration, honestly, I do believe that for Hydra, at least on hard and brutal even, I would consider her even up to brutal. I do think that if you're looking at Nightmare, Hydra, Thylessia, she's just too squishy to make work. But for hard and brutal, she's really worth a strong consideration. The two things, obviously the Hex buff helped her a good chunk, but the other big thing is Provoke on Head of Decay. That is the thing that sort of sets her apart, because that enables that debuff extension to actually matter. Sort of before that, back in the day where he was just going to come in and cleanse stuff, wasn't that important. But now that you can actually provoke him, it becomes super good, especially when she helps you keep, decrease speed on him all the time. And you can really just keep lapping around to your provokes. She becomes very good in those setups. So Thylessia, I really do consider to be strong. And also, like I was saying, I do think she's very good with the other top tier champions you're going to see in here. Like, she's really good with Ugo. She's going to be really good with Lady Kimmy. Really good with Geomancer as well. Extending those debuffs is so strong. The Ugo debuffs, decrease speed, decrease accuracy here. The burns, yeah. So Thylessia, big thumb up from me. One of the best epic champions, I actually think, in the game. Really underrated. I think probably because her biggest problem is she is so difficult to build, right? Her stats are terrible. She's got such bad stats, but she has such a good kit. It's one of those things, right? It's one of those funny balance things. But there you are. Thylessia, well worth it. And yeah, getting her up to, when you do get her awakened, up to 2, 3, 4 star. I think 3 star is not that big of a deal for her, because if you're running cruelty, the stats aren't that good. But 2 star is nice for the bonus. Sorry, 3 star is good. That's where you get the 3 stars, where you do get the next level of cruelty. So yeah, getting her up to 3 stars, awakened, is good for extra cruelty. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you did. I'm gonna move. The sun just keeps blinding more and more, blaring more and more. I'm very hot. I'm gonna go cool down. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.